Welcome back to the Aggie Chocolate Factory Expo of 2020. My name is Zach Cooper, and I'm the factory manager here at the Aggie Chocolate Factory. This is episode 2, where we'll be discussing ingredients that go into chocolate and what exactly is chocolate. Every one of us has had a good piece and a bad piece of chocolate. But did you know that not necessarily all things that we might call chocolate are chocolate? In the food industry, there's something known as standards of identity. These standards are written by the Food and Drug Administration, or otherwise known as the FDA. The FDA creates a standard of identity so that it identifies what can and can't be called chocolate. The standard of identities of several different types of food can be found in the Code of Federal Regulations number 21. Take chocolate, for example. The standard of identity of chocolate requires that no other fat other than cocoa butter can be used here in the US. This means that if there's any other type of fat, with the exception of milk fat and milk chocolate, then you cannot call that item chocolate. So this often refers to things like baking chips or chocolate flavored products or chocolate-like products. If you read these on the labels, this indicates that the product that you'll be eating isn't actually chocolate. Other companies will get around this by saying that it's a candy bar rather than a chocolate bar. There are 2 required ingredients in dark chocolate. One is sugar, and the other is cocoa liquor. Cocoa liquor is an ingredient used in the food industry, which just means that the cocoa bean has been taken from a solid into a liquid substance. Cocoa liquor comes from the processing of cocoa nibs, and we get cocoa nibs by separating the shell from the inner portion of the bean. You can find cocoa liquor or cocoa mass in your local grocery store, but rather than being called cocoa liquor or cocoa mass, they will be referred to as baking chocolate. In milk chocolate, there are 4 primary ingredients that are used: cocoa liquor, cocoa mass, cocoa butter, sugar, and milk powder. Other dairy ingredients can also be used in making milk chocolate, as well as cocoa powder can be used too. In the cocoa bean, there is 50 to 55% fat. And what this means is that we can actually remove that fat. This fat is known as cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is obtained by placing cocoa liquor or nibs into a cocoa press. A cocoa press is a machine that has hydraulics that apply a high amount of pressure. By applying such a high amount of pressure, this extracts 30 to 40% of the fat in a cocoa bean, leaving somewhere between 10 to 20% of the fat in what we call the cocoa cake. This cocoa cake is then thrown into a machine that we call a hammer mill, where it is beat by several spinning hammers and pulverized into a powder. And that is how you get the separation of cocoa butter and cocoa powder. Some people will often claim that white chocolate is not chocolate, but by standard of identity, we can still consider it chocolate. White chocolate only contains cocoa butter. There's no other part of the bean that is included in the white chocolate. The ingredients of white chocolate are cocoa butter, dairy products such as milk powder, and sugar. So next time that you're at the grocery store, make sure to read the labels of the products you're buying. Are you buying chocolate chips, or are you buying chocolate flavored chips? Or are you buying baking chips? All of them are different. So be sure to know what it is that you're paying for. We look forward to seeing you on the next Aggie Chocolate Factory Expo episode. Make sure to go to aggiechocolate.com and use the discount code that you see on the screen to get great deals on our Aggie chocolate products. Have a sweet day!